Hey guys, so I realized my last video, of course I was riding Winona, but I didn't really introduce her, who she is, or like how I got her, anything like that. So Winona is a grade approximately 18-year-old mare. We rescued her on December 3rd or 4th of 2020. She was in some small town in Texas with some guy, and he posted her on Facebook for $400. My friend found the ad, she sent it to me, and to be honest, I wasn't entirely interested at first. I was like, maybe we can, I don't know, it seems like she looked old to me, old and decrepit. And I wasn't so sure I wanted to take that risk. But she talked to him, we got some video, and so I was working full-time in an office job at the time, and I was like, well, let's take a look at her. So she actually went for me. My good friend went and looked at her, and she had texted me. She's like, she's in really rough shape. She's very underweight. She has this nasty wound on her side, and the guy is thinking of breeding her. And I was like, I just, at that point, I was just like, just bring her home. Just bring her home. So she brought her home, and at first, no really red flags, but also, only had her for a few hours. And so I went either that evening or the next morning, can't really remember. Anyways, went and looked, went and met the horse I just purchased. And we very quickly discovered that you can pet her on her face, her neck, her shoulder, but as soon as you got down to her legs, she would jump and squeal and strike out and kick and just very on edge. It took 2, maybe 3 months to actually get her over that, or through it, I should say. It occasionally will pop up here and there when she's really stressed. If you hear something in the background, that would be Ranger the kitten climbing furniture. So, where was I? Yeah, it pops up. Kicking pops up when she's stressed. And then, but yeah, so we got her vetted. It took a long time for her to put weight on. It took the 2-3 months for her to put the proper amount of weight on. It was very difficult to figure out what worked for her, but we finally did figure it out. And then she's been under saddle. She's actually kicked me in the back once. She kicked my friend in the leg once. This is shortly after we got her. It was probably a month afterwards. We were trying to work through some things. We initially tried the traditional way of like, hey, you don't do that, don't kick at us, and quickly realized she is the type to just escalate and not like come back down, really. So I ended up doing a lot of research and YouTubing a lot, found Warwick Schiller, which I had found him years before, but I guess I never really understood it until this horse. So I'm quite grateful for the experience. But I applied a lot of his methods. Really, I know he doesn't like to call them methods, but a lot of what he was saying just really resonated, and I applied what he expressed, and I was able to finally get through to her. It's just a lot of attunement and positive reinforcement. And now she's finally at the point where, like, she's kind of, like, her personality, she came out of her shell, her personality's perked up, like, we know who she is now inside. And it's kind of funny because now she's at the point where, like, she's testing limits and, like, seeing what she can get away with. Like, she's being stubborn, basically. And so now you kind of have to be a little firm with her occasionally. And it's a little firm. I mean, we're talking, like, you know, when I tell you to move over, you better move. And it's always interesting, like, now that she's in it, and now the dump people are here. Okay, well, anyways. But yeah, that is Winona's very quick story. I will have, I say quick story, it's going on 6 minutes here. But I will post some pictures and video of when we first got her, and I'll do some voiceovers of, like, the progress and just some more details and all that good stuff. So yeah. So this was the picture for her ad on Facebook that my good friend sent me, and on first glance I wasn't really interested. She just gave me kind of a bad vibe, I guess. Yeah, and then looked a little bit old, and then I saw this and I was like, okay, how is this supposed to convince me? She's got a big old wound on her side, and she was just so thin. She did trailer really well though, and then I think this was the day after I met her. This is her the day she got home, just settling in a little bit. As you can see here, she didn't start out a particularly great mover, and she was just pretty docile, but she was still very lethargic from being underweight here. So this was a really interesting day because this was the day I found a spot that she really liked to be scratched. And it was the first day she really relaxed and licked and chewed, you can see there, and just kind of started to enjoy human company, because up until that point she really didn't. So this is after she had started putting on weight, obviously, and her personality had kind of started to come out, her obstinance, I should say. You can see there, she was not a fan of learning to work properly and accept contact with a bit. She would definitely try and intimidate. This is one of the milder times. So obviously she's not really had any proper training before this. So I took it from a very compassionate point of view, and instead of, punishing her for getting things wrong or being confused, we just started over, which tended to work better to keep her relaxed and not escalating as well. So here are some progress photos. You can see there's, I think, about a 2-week mark, a little less. And this is her weight gain in a 2-month time period. We also did take her off property once, and she did great going off property. Oh, and this was her best friend for a while. Pancakes had her in for about 30 days, and she went to a lovely family, but they're around the same age, and they became very close. So this was a pretty big day for us. This was Winona's first time being mounted, and she stood there like a champ and took everything, no problems. I mean, She did better than a lot of seasoned horses, honestly. So this is her a couple weeks or so under saddle, and as you can see, she's pretty easygoing, actually kind of lazy here. I kept the reins really loose in order for her to relax. She hated any contact with the bit. As you can see there, I try and take it up, and she immediately turns into a giraffe. So I just focused on just getting some forward motion, which didn't really get a whole lot of, but there's a little bit. So here you can see she's really developed rather well. This was about a month ago, and she just is looking really nice. She's shiny. I mean, she looks like half the age she looked when she came in. Like, just absolutely amazing turnaround. She's much more forward now. This is when I was starting to take up more contact with the reins, try to get her to round out some. She's not very fond of it. Turns into a bit of a giraffe. This was a month ago. And then you'll see here just a week or two ago, definitely starting to round up and look a lot better and work into the contact a lot more. And I'm just really proud of her. Our plans for her are to put her on the market after her first show in October, so be on the lookout for her. Thanks for watching. Bye.